new direction by winning those seats in the next election. Have some hope, grab the rope, take your neighbor out to vote, 'cause the only hope we really got is to overwhelm the ballot box. So if you're voting blue, you better take two more voters out to vote with you, 'cause the only hope we really got is to overwhelm the ballot box. So call your friends on your mailing list and start a damn stampede, 'cause the only hope we really got is to overwhelm the ballot box. Yeah, have some hope, grab the rope, take your neighbor out to vote, 'cause the only hope we really got is to overwhelm the ballot box. Yeah, one more time. Have some hope, grab the rope, take your neighbor out to vote, 'cause the only hope we really got is to overwhelm the ballot box. Yeah, have some hope, grab the rope, take your neighbor out to vote, 'cause the only hope we really got is to overwhelm the ballot box. All right. That song is called The Unity of Blue, and it's on YouTube. You can send it as far as you want to send it. It's on Spotify and on Pandora as well, and on iTunes. So check it out if you'd like. My name is Steve Easterling, and I'm a proud member of the Our Revolution Midmo group. Your sponsors for this event, and I am your MC for this evening, and I am glad to be here. You know, there was some notes that we shared together out of the Our Revolution group, and these words just became so profound. Let me just share them with you just as they are right here. You know, while the president, who shall not be named here, is holding a rally to drive hate and violence and extremism, we are here. We are here. We are here because we believe in a brighter future for our community. We are here because we believe in each other. And we are here because the policies he makes can only be defeated on November 6th by our votes. This rally isn't about him. It's about you. And it's about the future that we share. Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, "Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate does not drive out hate. Only love can do that." Friends, let's drive light into the darkness. Let's drive love into their hate. And let's drive one another to the polls on November 6th. Take your neighbor out to vote. Take your neighbor out to vote. Hey, we've got a great lineup for you tonight. We're going to hear from your candidates and from the various offices, and you'll hear more about the amendments that are on the ballot as well. Each one of these candidates has a table set up around, as you can see, and after tonight's presentation, we want you to go to their tables and sign up to help. We need you. We all need you. They need you. As Dr. Zeus said, unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing's going to get better. It's not. So let's take on this administration. Let's take on their policies and this president. And let's start the show. Everyone give it a round of applause for Corey Davis, chair of Our Revolution Mid-Missouri. Here's Corey.
Thanks for coming out tonight, folks. I'm not going to take up too much of your time so that the candidates can get out here and say what they have to say. I'm just going to share a few of my thoughts about why we're doing this. We really feel like Trump showing up on short notice 5 days before the election is a planned distraction. He's really good at doing this. He can control the narrative that the media has, He controls the national narrative, and it's by this sort of tactic that he does that, right? He counts on people reacting to him and then capitalizes on that. So what we really would rather do is to make tonight about you guys, about voters, about candidates, and about the election. Before he ever decided to come out, we had our goals set in line for the election. We're on track, and we're not going to let him coming to town derail us. Now, that being said, we are in solidarity with the protesters down at the airport, those brave souls. So, as a person who identifies as trans, I'm with them in spirit. I wish I could be there with them today, but as chair of OR, I felt like it would be better for me to be here tonight. There's no reason that we can't all support the same things. So, I'm going to start a short chant. We're going to do it 6 times for November 6th, which is the election day, and I want it to be loud enough that they can hear us down at the airport. Okay, so here's how it's going to go. I'll say trans rights, and you say our human rights, and we'll do it 6 times. You ready? Okay. Trans rights.
Our human rights.
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 One more time. Trans rights.
Our human rights.
Thank you.
Thank you, Corey. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, if you live in Columbia, your representative in federal government is probably Vicki Hartzler. I love you guys. Vicki's backwards policies set us all back. It's time for a representative that actually listens to us, don't you think? It's time for Renee Hoganson. I was at a fundraising gathering with her the other night, and gosh, she is well-spoken and really sharp on the issues. Unfortunately, Renee is out at one of those other gatherings right now, and she couldn't be with us tonight. She's out campaigning. But we have Sean Diller from her campaign. Sean's got some words to share with us. Sean?
All right. Well, thanks so much, everybody, for coming out. What an awesome crowd. Give yourself a round of applause for being here. This is so good. So, my name is Sean Diller. I'm so happy to be talking about my boss, Renee Hoganson. Just like Renee, I am from a small town in rural Missouri. I've lived in Missouri most of my life. I went to school right here at Mizzou. And, you know, I got to tell you, a lot of the folks that we talk to on the trail are just like you, hungry for change now. So, folks are hungry for change because a lot of them are struggling. They're struggling to make ends meet. They're struggling to pay student loan bills. They're struggling to pay medical bills. They're struggling to find a job that pays a fair wage. In this district, in 2018, 1 out of every 3 single moms are living in poverty. In this district, in 2018, over 75,000 people are living without health insurance. This is not a Democrat or a Republican problem. These issues are American issues, and we need a government who will work to solve them for all Americans. Right now in Washington, we have a chance to take back Congress so that it serves the people and not a handful of folks at the top. We have a chance to check a president who is talking about changing the Constitution through an executive order. We do not need a government that operates for a handful of people at the top. We need to pass Amendment 1 to get money out of politics. We need to pass Proposition B to raise the minimum wage. And we need all of you to vote and tell your friends to vote so we can take back the House, take back the Senate, and take back our government for the people of the United States of America. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you, thank you. Hey, do you know where your polling place is? Oh, all right. I can just script the rest of this part right here. I think there's at least a couple people here that don't know where their poll place is, but there's a way to find out. If you'll text polls, P-O-L-L-S, to 50409. Again, that's polls, P-O-L-L-S, to 50409 to confirm your polling place. Yeah, he's right. She's on it right now, Ben, and now that's an enthusiastic voter right there. I'm like, I ain't gonna let another day go by. Hey, you know, we've seen a lot of ugly, untrue campaign ads this year. Boy, it seems like a bunch of them, huh? It's part of their mission to divide us with lies and hate. But our next candidate is a fighter. She's taking the dark money and the groups to task and taking them to court. Michaela Skelton. She is a champion for all of us. She's not only taking on the right-wing puppet in Sarah Walsh, but she's taking on the big money and out of the state corporate interest and interests that take back Michaela. Let's see, I don't know how this was reading here. Well, I think you're getting the idea. Michaela Skelton is a candidate of the people. Let's give her a warm welcome.
Good evening, everybody. We are here today because our community is under siege by politicians who are stripping us of our health care, who are starving our schools, who are denying people the vote, and who are letting our communities fall apart while they spread or hide behind violent and divisive rhetoric meant to make us live in fear of our fellow humans. In the face of a visit from the most divisive president in our memory, we are desperately reaching out to one another for love, safety, solidarity, and support. We are here because the love we have for one another and our community is greater than one man. Our movement has often been called the resistance, but that doesn't really describe who we have truly become. The real resistors are the small, cynical, and vocal minority, selfishly clinging to an exclusive right to power, to safety, and to prosperity. We are the seekers, the believers, the brave and true patriots who have reached out to one another in this time of uncertainty, ready to jump into the dark unknown, knowing and believing that as long as we hold tight to one another, the future is bright. It is past time for all of those who are oppressed by the systems of power in this country to rise up together, hand in hand with our voices and our votes, against those systems and the people in power who protect them. Because the arc of history may bend toward justice, but it will not change shape of its own accord. We must keep pushing to save our neighbors, our friends, our families, and ourselves from exploitation and persecution, to save our planet from destruction, and to save our society from collapse. Silence and apathy will not help us. We cannot continue to make excuses for those in our government who would stoke fear and division. If we are silent, we are complicit. If we feed the false narratives used to justify hate, we are complicit. Once, we were starry-eyed idealists who believed a well-spoken and charismatic leader who promised us change could save us by himself. But we learned the hard way that the compelling message of yes, we can is nothing without we. We may not know the path our journey will take, but we know the destination we desire. a world where we can finally live as one people, one nation, and one world. A world where our greatest successes are measured in the love we give, the connections we create, and the beauty we bring to our communities. Together, we can create a country that finally lives up to the unifying themes of equality and justice for all that are in the founding documents of our great nation. Together, we can build a world and a future that is for all of us. Our community and our country are hungry for a government that is bold and fearless, that can bring change and build hope for a future. Let's give it to them. Let's give it to us. We are the change.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, we've just witnessed the future of Missouri right there. You know, Michaela stands to flip her gerrymandered district in just 5 days, and you could be part of that history making. You know, speaking of history, we have more women on the ballot than ever before. Missouri is poised to make a big change on November 6th. One of the most winnable districts, District 44, has recently caught a lot of attention because Marin Bell Jones is not just any Democrat. She's a veterinarian, a hunter, a believer in facts and science, and unlike her opponent, she cannot be bought. Let's welcome Dr. Marin Bell Jones.
Thank you, everybody. My name is Marin Bell Jones, and I am running for the Missouri House of Representatives in House District 44. So, it's an interesting district. We got a lot of working class folks in my district. We've got a lot of rural folks in my district. And we got a lot of just everyday people. Those people right now, they are not being represented in Jefferson City. We have got a over two-thirds majority in the state house for the Republicans in Jeff City right now. Now, we talk about Missouri, now it's a red state. Now it's a red state. That is not true. It's a red state when people don't show up to vote. That's when it's a red state. You look at races that were very close, even in 2016, just by a couple percentage points. But again, when people are not inspired to vote, when they don't show up, that's when it's a red state. And that's when we have this two-thirds majority down in Jefferson City. That ends now. And I'll tell you what, they are scared to death, because of what we represent, what I represent, what Michaela represents, and Adrian Plank, who will be up very shortly, what he represents. Corey Davis mentioned our revolution. Our revolution was an offshoot of Bernie Sanders' campaign to keep the progressive fire going. I am so excited to say there is 5 nationally endorsed candidates from our revolution in Missouri out of hundreds of candidates. 3 of them are us. How cool is that? Yes. So we got to keep our eyes on the ball, folks. This happened in 2008. We were so excited to elect President Obama, but we lost 1,000 or more governor positions, state house positions, and U.S. Congress positions because we didn't keep our eyes on the ball. We didn't look on down ballot. But the down ballot is how we build our tickets on up. So please, please come support us local candidates. It's incredibly important. You all are here. Raise hands. How many people have volunteered for campaigns? It could be Renee's. It could be mine. Thank you. Adrian's, Michaela's. You guys, this is what's going to win it for us. They may outraise us, and boy, they sure have. The Republican arm, the spending arm of the House Republican Campaign Committee, between just me and Adrian, has already spent about $500,000. You guys know this. $500,000 already has been spent by the Republican Party, not on their candidates. They're not really doing that much to boost up their own candidates. They're doing it in opposition to us. To us. They are scared to death of us. So continue your hard work. Keep your eye on the ball. Voting is so critically important. Like Mr. Eastling said, don't bring just 2, maybe bring 4 out to vote. That's incredibly important. Last but not least, a lot of you guys know me from these protests, these rallies, these demonstrations. I bring a U.S. flag to almost all of them. I look straight across and I see the one across the way is at half-staff. I think we all know why it's at half-staff, because of the events of last week. How many more events is like that under this administration is there going to be? We're going to say thoughts and prayers. No more. Too many. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So, the folks down about 11 miles from us, southeast of us, they're all gathering together under the manifestation of what they stand for, and they call us cupcakes and snowflakes and all these things. But I'll tell you what do snowflakes form? An avalanche. And guess what? Tuesday, November 6th, winter is coming.
Thank you, Dr. Jones. Ooh, inspiring words. I was watching as Dr. Jones asked who had participated in one of the campaigns, and a lot of people here have held up their hands, and some are indeed going to do some other work in the few days that are ahead of us right here. You know, I got involved on this thing clear back in the Bernie time, and I've just been riding this wave ever since. And one of the things that I've done in these last few weeks is participate in writing postcards for these candidates. I'll bet I've written 1,000 postcards for Adrian Plank. I'll bet I've written another 1,000 for Michaela, and maybe another 1,000 for Dr. Jones. And you know what? There's about another 7,000 postcards sitting in the office right now that need to be addressed and written on. Just a nice note, please come out and vote. You know, if you'd be willing to go to a candidate that you support or one that you know and just donate an hour's worth of time to fill out postcards or put stamps on there, it will make a difference. An hour's worth of your time sometime in the next 3 days will make a difference. 2 hours will make more difference. 4 hours will make a huge difference. So find the candidates that you need to work for, that you feel good about, and join the other people that are getting those real detailed things done. Thank you. Who? And knocking on doors, right. Yeah. Knocking on doors is the best thing you can do, but if you're not up for that, writing postcards is a pretty good thing. Hey, if you're wondering which district you live in, and some people do, the Boone County Dems table that's right up there afterwards can get you squared away and get that information for you. You know, we all have our work cut out for us, folks, and the next candidate is ready to do some heavy lifting. Adrian Plank is running against Chuck Basie in the 47th District. Chuck has been bought and sold by the anti-worker billionaires. Adrian Plank, on the other hand, knows what it's like to work overtime for you and me. He's not only a union carpenter, but he's been on the front lines of this progressive movement since 2015, and I can tell you for a fact he has been. He's campaigned in Iowa, Kentucky, and Missouri for Bernie. Adrian was someone that you can count on. Adrian was out getting those petitions signed to get right to work put on the ballot, and I swear he did more work than anybody to get that done. No matter the burden, he's up there to help you. Give it up for Adrian Plank.
Man, I was thinking earlier, man, do I want to come to this thing? I'm worn out. Running for office wears you out. I had a forum the other night, Thursday night.
in the big county of Randolph County, which we had several candidates there. It was pretty humorous to me, I've been making my forums pretty fun. They were talking about player's opponent and how the ads weren't quite putting forth the whole story, and I laughed because they spent $225,000 to put out false stories about me, and it's just astounding. The talking out both sides of your mouth, and I wear it as a badge of honor. $225,000 they spent against me. Are they scared or what? So I'm not a polished politician, and I'm proud of that too. I've worked hard my entire life. I've went through a failed business, which was horrible. And with that failed business came lots of despair. I tried to keep my employees paid. Through the greatest recession since the Great Depression, where thousands of people lost their small businesses, millions of people lost their homes and their jobs. And that's all because of the policies of the very wealthy. And what I mean by that, the wealthy make our laws. The wealthy write our tax codes. Poor people don't write those tax codes. So, in a time where Citizens United rules and money is speech, we need unions and collective bargaining more than ever. We've got this, the number one issue in Missouri, anybody has got to know what that is, right? It's health care. We've got a legislative body that is not only trying to destroy what health care we have, they're not expanding Medicaid. They voted to take 63,000 elderly off their prescription drug programs. And we're talking about a pharmaceutical companies that really takes advantage of us and just exploits our ability to pay for our prescription drugs. They kicked people off their home health services and assisted living programs. And it just baffles my mind when they say they're for the people that don't have a voice. But on the other hand, everything they do is an attack on people who don't have a voice, whether it be immigration. Those people don't have a voice. It's easy to go after those folks. We should be welcoming people in and letting them know that they are God's creations too. They're human beings and they deserve respect. They're running for things that they don't want to go back to, things that could kill them. So please support your candidates. Some days I feel like I got tons of help. Some days I feel like I'm doing it myself. I've got a great campaign manager, Tyler. I wanted to give a shout out to you. And I'm damn glad I came tonight. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Adrian. We've got 5 days until it's time to vote. It's time to cook this thing into high gear. We don't need the distractions and the divisions this administration is offering. We need real leadership. We need people to stand up for our values, our families, and our communities. I think a lot of us have wondered how our country could progress towards a tolerant and just one. Well, this fight ain't done. We've just now seen that it's up to us to make that true. We are the ones we've been waiting for. Now, Jamie Blair did not want to be running for office. She was reluctant, but she refused to allow another callous conservative to continue beating down the working class citizens in the 43rd House District. She's a grassroots progressive activist balancing family, a job, and a campaign. Her compassion, dedication, and authenticity are truly inspiring and exactly what we need more of in Jefferson City. Tal Walundamo is here to tell you about Jamie, who's campaigning tonight. Tal, please.
Jamie, sorry she can't be here. I'm just going to say a few words about her, tell you a little about what I know of her. So Jamie's running for the 43rd, which is Mexico, Missouri, of Oz, that area, east of here. Her website is jamieblair43.com. So I met Jamie in the 2015-2016 election cycle, and she had never been involved before. She was just really concerned, and she came out and started working, just volunteering. And after the election, she got mad, like a lot of us did, and she went to her local Democratic Party county committee and found that there was almost no one there. Within a couple meetings, she was the chair of the party. She stepped up and was the chair of the county committee. And within a couple months of that, she got elected to the state committee. And every time she finds an empty spot, she sacrifices herself and her time. And she's working a full-time job, has kids at home, and she stepped up for that state committee position and is doing a great job at that. Part of her job is also to find a candidate to run for the 43rd. And she looked really hard to find someone to run. And when she couldn't find it, she stepped up again. And so she's made a lot of sacrifices. Her time is just evaporated. And a couple of the issues she's really passionate about, I know, her district is very rural, and a lot of the health clinics are closing because the Republicans refuse to expand Medicaid, and a lot of those rural health clinics are shutting down. They estimate something like 700 Missourians die every year. 700 Missourians die every year from because they refuse to expand Medicaid, and there's tens of thousands of jobs and I believe billions of dollars of federal money that we're losing for Republicans to play political games, and it's not going to change unless we elect people to change it. Yeah. So I would ask all of you to, Jamie and all of these candidates have stepped up to run, so I would ask that we step up to help them. And if you can take some time in the next few days, go to Craft Beer Cellar after this, write some cards, send some text messages. That would be great. And again, it's Jamie Blair, jamieblair43.com. Thank you all.
Thanks, Cal. If our current representatives had a fraction of Jamie's fire, we wouldn't be in the mess we're in. The future can be extremely bright if we can turn out and vote Tuesday and put these good people at the helm. How do you feel about money in politics? I predicted that. It says right here, pause for the booze. Guess they knew it was coming. How about lobbyists giving representatives gifts? I think so too. What about our representative becoming flashy lobbyists or gerrymandering? That's what I thought. Well, we've got some information for you here that you're going to appreciate. Here to talk about the importance of yes on Amendment 1 is Christine Dewar with the Sierra Club of Osage. Christine.
Hi, everybody. What an honor to be on this stage with these amazing people. My name's Christine Dewar. Like my grandpa and my dad before me who were in the military, I was enlisted in the Navy for 6 years. I served with honor and dignity. Are there any other veterans or military people here? Then they know what it is to serve with honor and dignity, and I expect no less from my elected officials. And that's why I'm here today to speak about Amendment 1. Currently, there are no limits of any kind on the free things that paid lobbyists can give to our state legislators. Since 2004, lobbyists with business before the state have given legislators nearly $900,000 per year in liquor, steak dinners, and overseas trips. And it gets worse. Because of a loophole, they can hide the recipients of nearly 70% of these gifts, naming only the group but not the individuals that received the money or the gifts. On a single March night during 2013 session, the House Utilities Committee enjoyed a $4,827 meal at a Columbia Steakhouse, plus a $300 trolley ride to the steakhouse, $48 in drinks during the ride. That's over $5,000 on one steak dinner paid for by the very special interests being regulated by that very committee. We don't know which legislators were there. And one more thing, that same committee got a $1,243 meal at the Jefferson City Country Club the very next night. This is a bipartisan problem. The top 10 gift takers are 5 Democrats and 5 Republicans. But there is good news. It doesn't have to be this way. Amendment 1 is a bipartisan solution that will eliminate all expensive lobbyist gifts to legislators. It's been endorsed by the AARP, the League of Women Voters, former U.S. Senator John Danforth, Senator Rob Schaff, the Sierra Club, Missouri Faith Voices, and numerous other reformers across the political spectrum. And here are the facts on what Amendment 1 will do. Eliminate almost all lobbyist gifts in the General Assembly by banning any gift worth more than $5. Lower campaign contribution limits for state legislative candidates. Ensure fair and competitive legislative maps. Require legislative meetings and records to be open to the public. And require politicians to wait just 2 years before becoming paid lobbyists. Now, just for fun, here are some examples of gifts from lobbyists to legislators. I know there's some artists out there. You'll enjoy this first, or you'll appreciate the first one. A framed caricature for $3,152 in 2007. Cocktails and refreshments in New Orleans, $1,687 in 2011. Lumbar support pillows, $3,564 in 2007. No fun. A trip to Turkey for one state representative for $3,500 in 2013. A reception at the Jeff City Country Club for $6,711 in 2007. All of these would be illegal under the policy of Amendment 1. This kind of corruption is not what I served my country to defend. So please join me in voting yes for Amendment 1 this November to end Jefferson City corrupt, disgusting, lobbyist gift culture and clean up Missouri politics.
Thank you, Christine, for educating us in powerful ways on Amendment 1 and how that could clean up Jeff City's act. You know, there continues to be a lot of confusion surrounding the medical marijuana initiative on the ballot this year. Dr. Parks is here from the Amendment 2 Compassionate Care Campaign to tell us the difference and clear up any confusion. Dr. Parks, if you would, please.
Hello, everybody. I'm Dr. Bill Parks. I've been in medical practice for over 40 years, emergency physician at Boone Hospital, although now I'm retired. I'm here to give you a few tips on Amendment 2 to bring and establish a... Speak up, okay? Can you hear me? Amendment 2 will establish a medical marijuana program for the state of Missouri. As you know, 31 other states and the District of Columbia have already established medical marijuana programs for their citizens. It's about time that we follow their lead and develop a medical marijuana program for the Show Me state. It actually is very odd that there are 3 proposals on next week's ballot, all for medical marijuana. After careful review, as a citizen and as a physician, I have determined that clearly Amendment 2 is the best of those proposals, and it is the only one that you should vote yes for. Amendment 2 is the best because it is the most patient-friendly. Among the many ways it's patient-friendly is that it has the broadest list of clinical indications for the recommendation of using medical marijuana. The list includes ALS, multiple sclerosis, Parkinson's disease, chronic pain, cancer, terminal illness, and several other entities, other conditions. It's also the most doctor-friendly. What I mean by that, it is the only proposal that clearly supports that licensed physicians in Missouri can use their clinical judgment to determine whether a patient's condition might be improved by medical marijuana, even if it isn't on the list. And that also is therefore patient-friendly. It also has a 4% tax, which isn't that high, and is being only 4% is patient-friendly, and revenues from that tax go to the Missouri Veterans Commission, a state agency that does a lot of work for veterans. Also, on the regulatory front, it makes the most sense, this Amendment 2 makes the most sense as it directs the Missouri Department of Health and Senior Services to develop the regulations, administer it, and oversee it. It's just great, it's just good public policy. Of the other 2 proposals on the ballot next week, Proposition C has a lot of problems, including the most important problem is that it's a proposition. It was put on as a proposition. Propositions can be reversed by unfriendly state legislatures, and the Missouri State Legislature has definitely overturned propositions voted on by a majority of Missouri voters in the past. It is not a worthwhile way to go. The other proposal, Amendment 3, also has some serious flaws, one of which is that it has a 15% tax on medical marijuana. This would make it the highest tax of medical marijuana in the nation and definitely isn't patient-friendly. The worst part of Amendment 3 is that it was written and promoted and supported by a single private individual, a guy named Brad Bradford, a doctor, lawyer from Springfield, and he wrote into this proposal of his, which Amendment 3, that he would be the director of the whole program, or he had the most control. Ridiculous. Missouri voters should not support a non-elected private citizen to have that kind of control over public policy and access to tax revenue. Vote no on Proposition C, vote no on Amendment 3, vote yes on Amendment 2.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Doctor. Hey, you all feel like standing up for just a second and shaking it out? Yeah, let's do it. Let's show those signs. The photographs, the film's running. The film's running. There it is. We've just got a few more speakers here and a little bit more business to conduct. We, of course, appreciate you being here, and thanks for shaking it out here a little bit. While you're on your feet, let me give you a little bit of information. Have you heard about the app Vote With Me? Have you heard about that? Let me tell you about it as you return to your seats there. It's if you go to iTunes or Google Play Store, you can download it free. Right now, it's the easiest way to remind you and friends and family to go vote on the 6th. So check it out. Go to votewithme.com for more information. How many of you recall that St. Louis voted to raise the minimum wage to $10 for the current state, starvation wage of $7.85 an hour? In response, the state legislature stepped in and just passed a law to effectively repeal that, to take control from the local government. You know, Republicans only seem to argue that local government knows what's best for the people when it's for specific politicians that they want. A candidate and legal expert, Michaela Skelton, is going to come back up here for just a few minutes and help us understand the Raise Up Missouri Prop B. This is why the minimum wage matters to all of us. Michaela, please.
So you get me again, and I'm really glad that we found somebody else to talk about Amendment 1. I was really afraid you were going to have to see me 3 times up here today. So Proposition B, raising the minimum wage. As Steve said, it's currently $7.85 an hour. For minimum wage workers working full-time, that's as little as $314 in take-home pay a week. After you take out Medicare and Social Security taxes, which everybody has to pay no matter how little you make, that's only $16,000 a year. No one can support themselves on $16,000 a year, much less raise a family. So Prop B raises the wage 85 cents an hour until it gets to $12 an hour in 2023. With that $12 an hour, 170,000 parents would see a wage increase. 100,000 seniors and near retiree age people would see a wage increase. By the time we get to that full $12 an hour in 2023, almost 25% of Missourians would get a pay raise because we voted to raise the wage. So we need to vote yes on Prop B so that people who are working can have the dignity of supporting themselves. It's good for workers, but it's also good for our communities, because instead of spending our public tax dollars on subsidizing corporate bottom lines to provide food assistance, rent assistance, child care assistance, and housing assistance, that instead those dollars would stay in our state coffers to go to higher public school funding, Medicaid expansion, more public health care access. Also, those folks that would finally be making closer to a living wage would actually be paying state income taxes into the state, so that we would have more money to invest in our communities. So, vote yes on Proposition B because it's good for workers, it's good for our communities, and it's good for our state. Thank you.
Thank you all for being here. My name is Lyra Noth. I am the chair of the Boone County Democratic Party Central Committee. I wanted to tell you a little bit about myself. I was not involved in politics until after the 2016 election. I started participating once 45 was in office. And with that it was a process of, if no one is doing it, I should do it. And I want you all to think about that. I've gotten to know a lot of these candidates who are amazing people, working really hard at the Boone County Democratic office, as well as at Renee Hoganson's office, and the coordinated campaign fighting for our Senate seat. So I encourage each of you to get involved wherever you have a strength. Be a voice for your community. Be a voice on the Central Committee. There are a lot of empty spaces. I see a lot of people out here tonight. Because if not you, who? Okay? Tonight we have plenty of things after we are done here. We are going to be signing people up to do these last 4 days. There's just 4 full working days now that we have, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, before we hit the polls at 6 a.m. So find something to get involved with, something you're passionate about, whether that's the propositions. 1, 2, and B are the ones the Boone County Democratic Party has endorsed. We encourage you to vote yes on all of those. So 1, 2, B when you head to the polls. And I'm going to turn it over to Rebecca Helmshaw. Thank you all for being here this evening and supporting your community. Standing together, we are stronger together. And get out to vote.
Thank you. I'm Rebecca Shaw. I'm with Como for Progress. I want to say we're super excited to be co-sponsors of this event. So let's give it up one more time for everyone who came out today to speak to our candidates for all the hard work they put into giving us a choice on November 6th. I want to really quickly remind you too that there are groups, Faith Voices is a table set up. Some of our candidates have tables set up. Please go visit them and find an opportunity to get out and volunteer with them. So I'm here today with hope and determination. In the past 2 years, alongside so much darkness and damage done to our country by some of those in power, I've also seen so much light. Millions of women and supporters showed up to march against discrimination and hate this year. Young people have risen up to fight against gun violence. Millions demanded an end to immigrant family separation and detention. Women have shown overwhelming courage in speaking their truth this year. And people around the United States have rallied to show that this is not our America. The hate and divisiveness coming from the White House is not what we stand for. Now we have one chance to use this year's midterm election to hold accountable those in power, especially in Congress, who have done such unspeakable harm. When we tell our children the story of this moment, what will they be able to say? Can we say, I did all I could to turn us toward love, toward justice, toward dignity? It's not just a dream of a better tomorrow. Let's wake up into a better future for our children. Wake up to what could be if we can turn the tide November 6th. Wake up every day to what needs doing. Wake up the day after Election Day with no regrets. Take your neighbors to the polls. Call your friends and ask them to vote. Get out and help these candidates knock some doors and make some calls. Make your voice heard November 6th. If anybody knows anybody that needs rides to the polls, there is an email set up, accessiblepollingplace@gmail. There's also a phone number to call. Please check the Como for Progress website on Facebook. We have all of that information up. And please, please find a way to plug in. Any one of these candidates deserves your support. Really quickly, if you guys can hang around with us, Violet Vanderhaar is going to come up here and premiere her wonderful song.
Thanks for sticking around in the cold. I'm going to finish it out with a song called Still Here, which my group Violet and the Undercurrents just released today on YouTube and all your online platform streaming services, available for sale and for your viewing pleasure. It's a music video that our bassist Linda Bott put together. Just crafted it together really, really beautifully. And actually, I think some people that are here in the audience might be in the video too, so take a look at it. The song's called Still Here. It's inspired by the quote, "They tried to bury us, but they didn't know we were seeds." They try to bury us, they try to sweep us under. They try to silence us, they try to scare us with thunder. But after thunder comes the rain, and after rain comes the pain.